We interrupt our regular program schedule to bring you a special report from ABC News. Here is Peter Jennings.
Good morning. We interrupt again because, to use the phrase of an ABC correspondent out on the streets of the Chinese capital, Beijing, there is bedlam and there is panic. And there is every sign in the Chinese capital where it is now tomorrow morning, about half an hour after midnight Chinese time, that the Chinese army and the Chinese police are advancing through the city from a variety of directions on Tiananmen Square, at the heart of the city, where the student demonstrators for democracy have been for so long. We have on the phone now two ABC correspondents. Let's go first to Todd Carroll. Todd, what are you hearing?
Well, we're getting a lot of different reports. Diplomats are now saying as many as 25,000 troops are closing in on the center of the city in 500 trucks or more. And from the square itself, it seems like an armored personnel carrier was sighted there about 20 minutes ago, going by at high speed. People, meanwhile, have been erecting barricades around the north under the portrait of Mao and along the main boulevard to keep any other troops out. But at the south of the square, we're hearing now that there are troops and students have run there, and some of them are breaking bottles, preparing to defend themselves against a possible assault.
Todd, there are very confusing reports about whether or not people have been killed or injured. I noticed that one hospital says that people have been admitted suffering from gunfire. One person is reported to have been killed. Which reports can you confirm?
We cannot confirm anybody has been killed yet. We do know that shots have been fired. We do know that people have been shot with bullets, but we don't know how many yet. We do know definitely that violence occurred to the west of the city, about 4 or 5 miles on the main boulevard, the Avenue of Eternal Peace, where there was a confrontation more than an hour ago, and gunshots and tear gas canister sounds have been heard since then.
The Avenue of Eternal Peace, one of the great ironies. Let us go now to ABC's Jackie Judd, who is very close to Tiananmen Square. Jackie, what are you seeing and what are you hearing?
Peter, what we're hearing from our vantage point was what sounded to me like rapid gunfire. And then there was this duller thud of what we thought must have been tear gas canisters. Some of our people out in the streets are moving toward the west. They say the air is thick with tear gas, so thick, in fact, that some of them had to have been turned back. The streets in front of me are rather empty at the moment because most of the action is on the west side of the square, as Todd had mentioned. A few moments ago, we saw an armored personnel carrier racing down the boulevard. This one was going away from the square.
Jackie, you have no indication then that the troops have actually come close to the square itself?
No, I have not seen evidence of that as yet. But Peter, I have to caution you that it is dark here, and I am about 4 long blocks from Tiananmen Square. I have not seen any mass movement of troops from this vantage point. But
okay, let me go back to... Sorry, Jackie.
But they are said to be approaching.
Let me go back to Todd Carroll, who's our resident correspondent in Beijing. Todd, just a sense from you at the moment. Is this the push?
It sounds like it. It sounds like troops are coming in, enclosing on the city, trying to push the people back, trying to show that martial law has teeth, trying to show that Li Peng and the hardliners here are going to take command.
Okay, thank you both, Jackie Judd and Todd Carroll, both in Beijing, where we remind you it is about 12:30, that is to say half an hour after midnight in Beijing. It has been a long and very tense day. We saw a video earlier on of the citizens of Beijing surrounding the army and not enabling them to move on Tiananmen Square. And now we hear, in the words of Todd Carroll, quoting American embassy officials, that as many as 25,000 troops may be moving on the center of the city. There is gunfire in the city. There are reports of people having been wounded. One hospital confirms that. And there are unconfirmed reports that at least one person and perhaps more may have been killed. Chaos and bedlam are the operative words. I'm Peter Jennings. We'll be back.
This special report has come to you from ABC News. We now resume our regular program schedule.